1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. Okay. 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion. Okay. What is the time? Good afternoon, friends. Good evening, friends. Welcome to Itc chapter. Itc chapter is regularly conducting a class on different subject, and my endeavor, my first aim of my life is like to compare the world. I compare the world into three parts: India, China, USA, and the rest of country. Now, if you include Europe, okay, Europe is equal to UP. UP is equal to Adityanath. So the India has an advantage over the world in terms of China is an exporter. So any export goes wrong, China is in trouble. USA, consumption-based economy. They consumed a lot. They import so many things in the market. So their economy is on the basis of import. India is a mix of these two things. India has a lot of advantage. And after COVID, if you look at these things, Zoom, previously nobody was knowing what is Zoom. Now people know what is Zoom. People using Zoom. People are working from home. Working from home has some advantage of mental disease is happening. But in the overall, the India is going very strong. Today I have read in some news the TDS collection, income tax collection, advance tax collection is on the rise of 24%. The GST collection is rising. So if you consider, I don't consider stock exchange as a barometer of the economy, but tax collection is of course yes. And now when say India is signing, how you can make it more signing? How you can do when somebody asks a question to Narayan Murthy, what are the three things we should do and what are the three things we should not do to take India to a higher level? His reply was one-liner. You have to improve in all facets of life, all facets of economy. Everywhere you need to improve. And they were talking about, I'm taking 5 minutes before Sanket will take over charge. And before Narayan Murthy says you need to improve in all part of life, means everybody has to work to take country to a different level. And when you are working, it's always serve the nation. Be it a worker, be it an employee at level 1, 2, 3, director, whatever may be, the country is benefited. And when the country is benefited, you are going to be benefited. And whole concept of my life is to beat China during my lifetime. Okay, and it's the way India is growing, not the way you can expect, we would expect, but it has got all chance to come. So, what is my moral of the lesson, moral of the story? Each and individual person, be it either at home, be it in office, be it on the outside world, see that India is contributing in some way. So for that, I'm taking, I'm, you know, people make big partnership, but you make a small partnership. Suppose I don't know so many things, just ask your friend and take help and take support each other. So in that mission, I'm always contributing by taking a Zoom lecture every week. Not only that, this Zoom lecture is published on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and so many places. And people come in my blog in collecting the this thing. So India is growing in any way. And my role, if anybody wants to be of any support, I'll guide you there. So my email ID is nitinampatak@gmail.com. My mobile number is there. My blog is there. So I'm running an ISACA chapter. ISACA is running different kinds of courses, and I've done different kind of courses. If anybody wants to do any courses on information system, I would be always there to support you. If anybody wants to have any support, I'm there to support. With this, I'm hand over the mic to Mr. Sanket. Sanket is a very good friend of mine. Not only that, he is very much expert on GST. He has taken n number of classes here. When I say you take a lecture on Zoom, he immediately said, yes, I'll take a class. I will be with you. And though there is a peak season, peak season, hide the video panel. Yes. Even though during this peak period, he has agreed to come and take the shares and GST. Now I tell you, GST is going to be the barometer of the country. And GST input tax credit is going to be the hell of a task. Now, what is going to happen? Today, there is no GST audit. There is no GST scrutiny. There is no, government has got so much data. If government thinks they can increase their revenue in bits of a minute, they don't check posts, they don't try so much things. But sooner or later, I tell you, those who are taking casually may have to pay the heavy penalty in the life to come. So I always ask people, do not do any mistake in GST. Income tax may, you are likely to be caught unscathed. But in GST, there is no chance. With this, I hand over the charge to Mr. Sanket. And one more last time, I have planned a series of Friday lecture. So I'm going to another 2 Fridays already locked. And please come and enroll. Thank you very much. With this, I hand over to Sanket.
Good evening, friends, and a warm welcome. First of all, thank you, Nitin Bhai, for inviting me to share my knowledge on input tax credit. This is the second session, that is part 2. And I'm very thankful to Nitin Bhai, a former past president of ISACA chapter. And he said rightly that today in GST, if we make the mistake, then we are definitely going to be caught by department, or we will receive the notice why there is a difference between GST 1 or 2A, etc. So as I earlier said that input tax credit is the backbone of GST, and it has to be understood very well, and thereby we have arranged a series on input tax credit in 2 parts. The last part was we have done that is by section 16 input tax credit, 17 block credit, and 18 that is input tax credit in certain other circumstances. Okay, so today we will learn another three sections, that is section 19, section 20, and section 21. Section 19 speaks about, wait, section 19 speaks about that taking an input tax credit on inputs and capital goods when the goods are sent to the job worker. And sections 26 speaks about input service distributed of input tax credit under input service section, and other section 21 manner of recovery for credit distributed in excess, that is related to input service distributed as well. So friends, uh, let us now go through once for section 16, 17 and 18. In section 16 we have learned the nexus of credits, how the input tax credit should be taken in GSTR returns as well. Second, block credit, that is motor vehicle, health, fitness, insurance, etc. And section 18 related to that when compulsory registration, voluntary registration, and merger acquisition, credit related to merger acquisition. Now let us move ahead to section 19, that is speaks about the goods sent to the job worker. Moving forward, first of all, how we will go through this session. I will speak first of all related to the section, what the section speaks, and thereafter we will go by practical examples, illustration, etc. Moving forward to section 19, section 19 speaks about the principal shall, subject to such condition and restrictions, he will able to take the input tax credit on inputs signed to a job worker for a job work. And notwithstanding anything contained in clause B of subsection 2 of section 16, the principal shall be entitled to take input tax on the inputs even if the inputs are directly sent to a job worker for job work without uh, friends, sorry for interruption. Now let us moving from first slide. I नीचे कर दो. Sorry for friends for interruption. Now let us start again. We have learned last week about section 16, section 17 and section 18, that is related to eligibility and condition of input tax credit, apportionment of credit and block credit, and availability of credit in special circumstances. Friends, today we will learn about when the goods are being sent to the job worker, then how the principal will be able to take the input tax credit on the inputs and the capital goods, and section 20 related to input service distributor, and section 21 when the excess input service has been distributed by the ISD, that is input service distributor, to its another entity, then how the treatment will be done. So let us now moving forward in detail about the section 19, that is how to take the input tax credit when the goods are being sent to the job worker. So first of all, we will see the plain reading of the section, and thereafter we will move towards the practical examples and illustrations in each and every section. So let us understand in detail. Section 19. The principal shall, subject to such condition and restriction as may be prescribed, be allowed input tax credit on input sent to the job worker for job work, and notwithstanding anything contained in clause B of subsection 2 of section 16, the principal shall be allowed to be entitled to take credit of input tax on inputs, even if that inputs are not directly received at a principal's premises and sent to the job worker premises. Then also the principal will be able to take the input tax credit. Got it? What this section speaks this, अगर मैं कोई मोबाइल बनाना चाहता हूं, then whatever the components I have received, it will be considered as an input. That all the components are being sent to the someone for assembling these components and make sorry, and make it a mobile. When these components are being sent to the job worker for making a mobile, then whatever are the components on that, the principal will be able to take the input tax credit. Though the components are not at his premise and it is under the premise of the job worker, then also the component, then also the input tax credit on that such components, the principal would be able to take the input tax credit. यहाँ पे ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि मैंने महाराष्ट्र से गुड्स परचेस किया और डायरेक्टली मैंने गुजरात में मेरी फैक्ट्री पे लाए बिना ही मैंने जॉब वर्कर की प्रीमाइसिस पे भेज दिया सारे गुड्स कंपोनेंट्स. Then also, being a principal, I will be able to take the input tax credit on such components received as an input for making or assembling as a mobile by the job worker. Understood? Moving forward, अभी ये जो कंपोनेंट्स रिसीव्ड हुआ और हमने जो इनपुट हमने एज एन इनपुट और हमने जो जॉब वर्कर को भेजा वो कंपोनेंट्स, वो that should be received within a period of 1 year to our premises, or it shall be dispatched to the concerned parties who, that is considered as an actual supply within a period of 1 year. If that component received as an input is not received within a period of 1 year, then the principal has to pay tax as well as interest from the date on which the components are being sent from his premises to the job worker. That is from the date when the components are being sent to the job worker, उस दिन ही consider होगा deemed supply, and we have to pay tax plus interest. अगर वो एक साल में वो कंपोनेंट वापस मोबाइल बन के वापस नहीं आ जाता है तो लेट अस रीड दैट where the input does not receive back at principal place from job worker premises within a period of 1 year from the date. यहाँ पे मैं दो पार्ट में डिवाइड कर रहा हूं. अगर when the that components mobiles component are being received at my premises, that is at principal premises, and second अगर वो कंपोनेंट्स डायरेक्टली मेरी प्रीमाइसिस प्रिंसिपल की प्रीमाइसिस के आए बिना डायरेक्टली इट इज बीन सेंट टू द जॉब वर्कर प्रीमाइसिस, then what will be the situation and from which date I have to pay the tax plus interest if that component received as input are not received back within a period of 1 year. So let us read again. Where the input does not receive back at principal place from job worker premises within a period of 1 year from the date of, read here, from the date of, when the inputs are sent directly at job worker premises, then interest is payable from the receipt of input. Please note that interest कहां से कौन सी दिन से पे करना है? From the receipt of input at job worker premises by principal. And अगर वो प्रीमाइसिस मेरी प्रीमाइसिस पे आता है and thereafter I am sending that components to job worker, so when I am sending that goods on that day I have to pay the interest and tax. When the inputs are sent by principal, then interest is payable from the date when the goods are sent by the principal. Along with, here we have speak about interest, and along with whatever may be the tax liability arise, that is C or S, that is CGST, SGST, or UGST or IGST, as considered as an outward supply from the date as mentioned above. Here this slide speaks about the input and the next slide speaks about the capital good. Everything remains the same, but the time period for receiving back the goods, capital goods, is 3 years instead of 1 year in inputs. Everything remains the same as in input except the time period. Time period here where the capital goods does not receive back at a principal place from a job worker premises within a period of 3 years from the date of, within a period of 3 years. Within a period of 3 years. In earlier side we have noted that it was within a period of 1 year. Got it? Here everything remains the same except the period. So moving forward to another slide. Now the inputs and capital goods. Apart from that, if a die, fix and fixtures are being sent as a consumption for making that mobile, say for example, अपने tools, screwdriver and etc. screws we are sent to assemble the mobile, then it is going to be consumed, that screws in a mobile for fitting that mobile. So whether the items which are being consumed in making that part manufacture जो हो गया है, जो पार्ट मैन्युफैक्चर हो गया है, उसके अंदर जो कोई आइटम कंजम्पशन हो जाती है, then definitely it is going not, as it is not going to be received at principal premise as it is consumed. So if that is been that item is been consumed, then we very well understand that it is be considered that it is received, that part, to our premises. Let us understand. Nothing shall apply about restriction of time period 1 or 2 years in case of molds, dies, jigs and fixtures or tools sent out to a job worker for job work, that is in making a product. Another one, the period of 1 year and 3 years can be extended. The period of 1 year or 3 years can be extended. Before the completion of that period, we have to send an application to the commissioner for giving the relevant reason for extending such period. And if that commissioner is been satisfied, then in case of input, he can extend another period of 1 year. And in case of capital goods, he can increase the period of 2 years respectively. Got my point? अगर हमको ये within a period of 1 year में goods वापस नहीं आ रहा है manufacture होके, then we have to, before completion of that 1 or 2 years, 1 or 3 years, we have to make an application to the commissioner by mentioning the clear reason that why we need extension, and if the commissioner has been satisfied, then he may extend for a period of 1 year in case of inputs and for a period of 2 years in case of capital goods. अगर अभी जैसे कि मैंने पहले बताया, I have earlier also said कि when the goods are being manufactured, that is mobile is being totally assembled and it is now a distinct product. Now it is a distinct product, that is a mobile. We can also send from Gujarat. That is in our earlier example, what we have done, that we have purchased the components from Maharashtra and assembled in Gujarat, all the mobile, and then now directly we are sending it to the Maharashtra from the job worker premises only, rather than bringing that mobile manufactured to our principal premises. We can also send to the Maharashtra or different place of Gujarat, subject to वहां पे we have to follow some conditions, and then only it will be considered, then only we can directly supply the goods from job worker premises. What are the conditions? Let us read. So first of all, the principal shall declare the place of business of job worker as his additional place of business. जहां पे अपना मोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चर हो रहा है और असेंबल हो रहा है, that place has to be considered as an additional place of business. And if it is वो job worker के जो premises है, if it is unregistered, then we have to definitely declare that place as an additional place of business. Or if that premises is registered, then it is not required, because we will be mentioning that in ITC 04 also, that so and so job worker premises we are sending these goods for making an assembling of a mobile. Again, if, as I said, I have intentionally took the example of Gujarat and Maharashtra. Okay. Why? Because both are the different state. In that case, the principal has, when the principal are supplying the goods to different state at different job worker premises, that is in Maharashtra, then definitely we have to we can't say that it is our additional place of business. We have to take the new registration in Maharashtra, otherwise it won't be considered as an additional place of business. Okay, so additional place of business is only considered when the job worker premises are in the same state. We are in principal and job worker both are in the same state. If both are in the different place, that a different state, then this condition does not apply. We have to take the different registration number itself. Got my point? Let us read. The principal shall declare the place of business of the job worker as his additional place of business if the job worker is unregistered. If the job worker and the principal are in the same state, otherwise declaration is not valid. Means अगर same state में है तो declaration valid है, additional place of business बता के, और अगर different state में है तो additional place of business नहीं बता सकते. We have to take another registration. Okay. अगर same state में job worker or principal both are the registered, then it is okay. Moving forward to another slide. Some additional points related to section 19. Friends, what does it speak? The inputs, semi-finished goods or a capital goods shall be sent to the job worker under the cover of chalan. And under the cover of chalan, that is the delivery chalan, that we are sending these goods, and that has to be, all the details of chalan are to be incorporated in ITC 04. I have noticed that many of the chartered accountant tax consultants are not filing the ITC 04 in case of manufacturing industry when the goods are being sent to the job worker. So in near future, whenever the litigation or scrutiny assessment will come, then definitely department is going to take note of this, that whether the manufacturing industry has filed this ITC 04 when the goods are being sent to the job worker premises or not. Okay, so this has to be filed ITC 04 every half yearly at present. Earlier it was quarterly, and now it is half yearly. Friends, to differentiate between the job worker and maintenance, repairs and maintenance, both are different thing. Repair and maintenance, say for example, when a mobile, I have said that I have assembled the mobile and make a mobile through all the components I have received. Now that a screen of the mobile is been tilted, would destroy ho chuki hai. Okay, then I am sending that goods to make it as an original. Okay, I'm वो मोबाइल बन चुका था और मैं भेज रहा हूं, then it is not considered as a job work. It is a repair and maintenance. So there is a, I have just specifically add this to give you differentiate between the job working and the repair and maintenance. In repair and maintenance, we have not to file ITC 04 or anything others. Okay. This section does not apply to section, this section 19 does not apply to repairs and maintenance. Let us read that. Job working must not be confused with repair or maintenance. Job working creates the functionality of an article. यानी वो बनाता है article, different article, distinct article. But repair or maintenance restores or improves the functionality already created. जो मोबाइल बन गया है उसको रिपेयर करता है या उसको improve करता है. Got my point? And possessed by that article or a thing. Moving further, the next slide. I have also noticed that e-way bill has to be prepared, has to be generated in each and every case. But in section, nowhere it has been written that 50,000 or a kilometer range of 50 kilometers are been there for sending a goods to the job worker premises. This is my view, exclusive my view. As section is completely silent, as well as rules are completely silent, no limit is applied for the consignment of such goods for which are being sent to the job worker premise. जो भी ई-वे बिल की ई-वे बिल की लिमिट है वो 1000 रुपीज भी हो तो भी अपने को ई-वे बिल इसके अंदर बनाना पड़ेगा for job worker while sending the goods to the job workers premises. Okay, please note this is exclusively my view, as in section and rules there is nothing been said for this purpose. Moving forward to section 20, we will take all the examples related to the section 19 and 20 in the different slides at the end of the period. Okay, so section 20 speaks about the input service distributors, that is manner of distribution of a credit of an input service received by input service distributor. एक सिंपल एग्जांपल मैं बताता हूं कि इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जरूरत कहां पड़ती है. इट वाज इन अर्लियर period also, that is in service tax also, and the same has been continued with different version in GST also. Some of those benefits of which were receiving in service tax has been are not receiving in GST, but overall we can say that it is the same or a newer version of input service distributor as it was in service tax. इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर का मतलब क्या होता है कि जैसे कि अपने मान लेते हैं कि रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज लिमिटेड है, ही हैव many offices in different states, in different cities, number of cities in he is having number of offices. Okay, कहीं पे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हो रहा है, कहीं पे असेंबलिंग हो रहा है, एंड कहीं पे सिर्फ ट्रेडिंग ही हो रहा है, बट under the one roof, that is Reliance Industries Limited. Okay, if we speak about the Reliance Industries Limited, then he is having many offices, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, कहीं भी ले लो, बहुत सारे स्टेट है. अभी what they do, they have decided internally that पूरे इंडिया में, I am just giving an example, in whole India, we will appoint one security agency only. input service. Security agency is considered an input service. In whole India, जहां जहां अपनी ऑफिस है रिलायंस इंडस्ट्रीज लिमिटेड की, wherever we are having an office in India, XYZ Limited will give the security services to Reliance Industry, and one single will be sent to the Maharashtra. Then what will be the situation? बिल सिंगल आ रहा है पूरे मंथ का, पर सर्विसेज कहां कहां जा रही है? पूरे इंडिया में. Okay, and there we required the input service distribution. And महाराष्ट्र का जो हेड ऑफिस है, रजिस्टर्ड ऑफिस है बॉम्बे में, वहां पे जो इनवॉइस दे रहा है XYZ लिमिटेड सिक्योरिटी एजेंसी वाला, वो पूरे इंडिया का बिल दे रहा है. तो इन महाराष्ट्र मुंबई में इट विल बी द एक्सेस क्रेडिट. सो दैट एक्सेस क्रेडिट should be distributed to the different office of Reliance Industry, and thereby the point comes the input service distributor. Reliance Industry Limited of Mumbai unit has to take the registration of input service distributor to give or to distribute the input service received by the security agency, received from the security agency, not by, received from the security agency to different state of his office. Let us read now in section, plain reading of section. As per section 2 subclause 61 of CGST Act 2017, input service distributor means it is the office of the supplier of goods and or service. The said office receive tax invoice toward the receipt of input service. Here in our case security agency का input service हमको मिला. The said office distributes credit of CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST to the supplier of goods service having same PAN. यानी different states में Reliance Industry का PAN तो एक ही रहने वाला है. Okay. The said office issues a tax invoice. कैसे वो distribute करेगा? तो भी tax invoice or credit note has to be sent to the prescribed document for distribution of credit. उसको input service distributor बोलते हैं. Moving further, see, if I say when section 20, if we read in detail, plain reading of section 20, so it is very difficult to understand. It will take time to understand section 20. So what I have done, I have read the whole section. I have illustrated few examples to understand whole section, so that to understand this section in an easy manner. Okay, rather than reading this plain section, I will, in this section 20, I will give more examples. Okay, as we have discussed the example of Reliance Industry Limited, I have drafted this example to understand the input service distribution. Let us read this example. You will get the idea, nexus of input service distribution. A corporate office of XYZ Company Limited is at New Delhi, having its business location of selling and servicing of goods at New Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai, and Kolkata. Now the service, if the software license and maintenance is used at all the location, I have given the example of the security agency. Here the case is software license. If the software license and maintenance is used at all the locations, invoice indicating CGST and SGST is received at corporate office, that is in New Delhi. Since the software is being used at different location, 4 location, तो वहां पे जो न्यू दिल्ली में एक्सेस क्रेडिट आ गया उसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन होना चाहिए. The input tax credit of entire service cannot be claimed by New Delhi, क्योंकि सर्विस तो उसने पूरा लिया नहीं है, उसके तो डिफरेंट लोकेशन पे भी थे, चेन्नई, मुंबई, कोलकाता भी है. The same has to be distributed to all the 4 location. For that reason, New Delhi corporate office has to register under GST as an input service distributor, including normal registration which we are taking, गॉट माय पॉइंट? दो रजिस्ट्रेशन होगा, एक इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर का भी होगा और एक होगा नॉर्मल आवर रजिस्ट्रेशन ऑल्सो. अंडरस्टूड? मूविंग फर्दर, नाउ इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, हाउ वी कैन टेक. यहाँ पे अपने एक प्रॉब्लम यहाँ पे हो रहा है. व्हाट इज द इश्यू? See, if we understand this, that if the software license wait a minute. Okay. If a software license and maintenance is used at all the location, invoice indicating CGST and SGST is received at corporate office. If you have seen that, we will receive the invoice in CGST and SGST. अगर आपको पता हो तो अगर हम इनपुट सर्विस की क्रेडिट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे अगर से SGST का महाराष्ट्र, you are very well aware that महाराष्ट्र SGST can't be set off with गुजरात, और न्यू दिल्ली का SGST चेन्नई के SGST से सेट ऑफ नहीं हो सकता है. यहाँ पे तो न्यू दिल्ली SGST में क्रेडिट रिसीव हो रहा है क्योंकि वहीं की कंपनी है सॉफ्टवेयर लाइसेंस वाला, तो वो बिल इश्यू भी वहीं पे करेगा इन CGST एंड SGST. तो स्पेसिफिकली इन इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन they have given said that though the credit is been received in CGST and SGST, we can distribute this credit in IGST also. How? We will learn in the next slide. Okay, next further slide. Let us move ahead. Manner of distribution of input tax credit. where the ISD and the recipient are in the same state, और उसको डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन भी सेम स्टेट में ही करना है. ओके, तो कोई प्रॉब्लम ज्यादा है नहीं. लेट अस सी, वी हैव रिसीव्ड इन CGST, महाराष्ट्र में ही रिसीव हुआ है या न्यू दिल्ली में ही रिसीव हुआ है, एंड वी कैन इजीली गिव इन न्यू दिल्ली एज अ CGST. IGST है तो वी कैन इजीली गिव इन CGST और SGST. यहाँ पे नोट करना है IGST रिसीव हुआ है, देन देयर इज नो, वी कांट गिव इन IGST, we have to give in a CGST or SGST only. Okay, and SGST में receive हुआ है, then we can distribute the input tax credit in SGST also. Got my point? Moving further, problem where arise when IST and the recipient of the service are both in the different state. There the GST Act given us an exit way, a easy way to distribute the input tax credit. If we read the plain reading of the section, then definitely you will read thrice or 4 times or 5 times, then and only you will understand what is this table. I have just written in a simplified manner. अगर हमको credit CGST में मिला है, then we can distribute in CGST or IGST in both. पर अगर again we will distribute in CGST, then महाराष्ट्र का क्रेडिट गुजरात वाला नहीं ले सकता है. Got my point? So it is better to distribute the credit of CGST in IGST only. IGST का क्रेडिट IGST में ही दो और SGST का क्रेडिट IGST में दो. In short, when two different states are there, that is recipient is in different state and the input service distributor is in different state, in that case we have to distribute the input tax credit to the recipient in IGST only. In IGST only. Got my point? See, it is to be noted that the credit of CGST and SGST can be distributed as IGST also if the ISD and recipient are in the different state.
नहीं, कोड नहीं आया. 4935.
Let us move further. Let us move further. Condition for distribution of ISD. We have understood how the manner of distribution of ISD. Now, what are the conditions for distributing the ISD? The first condition is that the credit can be distributed to the recipient of the credit against a document containing such detail as may be prescribed. Yani what it says that we have to issue one document, that is tax invoice or a credit note, for to distribute our credit to the recipient. Second condition, अपने क्रेडिट लेजर में जितना क्रेडिट पड़ा है उससे ज्यादा हम नहीं दे सकते हैं बाय पेइंग कैश लेजर. भी चलो भाई, वी हैव अ क्रेडिट ऑफ 5 lakhs, मुझे 5,10,000 भेजना है गुजरात में, गुजरात की रिलायंस को. नो, इट इज नॉट अलाउड. वी कैन सेंड ओनली 5 lakhs. वी कांट वी कांट से डेट कि 5 लाख में दे रहा हूं, मैं 10,000 मेरे कैश लेजर से पेमेंट करके मैं 5,10,000 का डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर देता हूं. नो 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 नो, it is not allowed. We can only distribute 5 lakh rupees. That also eligible input tax credit. Third one, the credit of tax paid on input service attributed to a recipient of credit shall be distributed only to that recipient. अगर हम I am giving one example. In different slide also I have given many examples for related to the section 20. The credit of tax paid, what it say? The credit of tax paid on input service attributable to a recipient of credit shall be distributed to only that recipient. ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, यहीं से सब डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो सकता है. Let us understand this. Say for example there are 3 entities, Maharashtra, Gujarat and New Delhi. Maharashtra is the head office and registered office, and they are having another 2 units, branches in Gujarat and New Delhi. Now, one example, I'm giving one example. Maharashtra, being a Maharashtra registered place of business, registered entity, registered office is in Maharashtra, has ordered that stock audit should be done at Gujarat premises. तो एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट को अपॉइंट किया महाराष्ट्र वाले ने, बॉम्बे का ही चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट अपॉइंट किया. ही फ्लाइज टू गुजरात. गुजरात में उसकी जो हाँ एंटिटी है वहां जाके उसने स्टॉक ऑडिट कर लिया. अगेन फ्लाइज टू महाराष्ट्र और पूरा रिपोर्ट बना के रजिस्टर्ड ऑफिस जो मुंबई में है उसको दे दिया. बिल भी बना दिया. Invoice has been issued in SGST and CGST. Now, registered office in Mumbai, उसका एक यूनिट न्यू दिल्ली में भी है और एक गुजरात में है. तो ये जो IGST, ये जो सर्विस हुआ वो एक्सक्लूसिवली फॉर गुजरात का ही था. तो ये जो इनपुट सर्विस है वो सिर्फ एक्सक्लूसिवली गुजरात को ही मिलेगा. इसमें से 1 रुपये के भी 1 रुपये की भी इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन won't be done to the New Delhi's office. Okay, moving further, we will also understand in detail in examples. I have written over here the plain reading of section 20 subclause 4 for a relevant period, or section 20 subclause 5 for the relevant period. ये 2 slides जो है will come back again. First of all, we are just understanding what the example of this के इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन कैसे होगा. उसके बाद अगर हम ये पढ़ेंगे ना, then we will be able to understand better. So first of all we will go for an example, and thereafter we will read this section and the meaning of relevant period. Here I have drafted one example. A limited company has its corporate office in Mumbai and 3 manufacturing facilities in Gujarat, Maharashtra and West Bengal. Its corporate office is registered as as input service distributor. Okay, Mumbai वाला input service distributor के तौर से is been registered. Turnover of 3 units in states for the last financial year and the Q1, Q2 of financial year 17-18 is been given as follows. See, Gujarat का turnover financial year 2016-17 का 400 है CR, इन Q1 60 CR, Q2 17-18 CR, महाराष्ट्र का 300, Q1 का 50 और 25, वेस्ट बंगाल का 500, Q1 का 75 and Q2 का 75 again. Now, what it speaks? Input service distributor has obtained certain services for its units in Gujarat and West Bengal, on which CGST and SGST of rupees 20 lakh was paid. ISD wanted to distribute credit in the month of July 2017 pertaining to the financial year 2017-18. तो यहाँ पे relevant period कौन सा गिना जाएगा? How the base, यहाँ we have got the input service of rupees, we are having the credit of rupees 20 lakhs as an input service in our credit ledger of Maharashtra unit. वो 20 lakhs को distribute करना है अपने तीनों यूनिट में, जो गुजरात में भी है, महाराष्ट्र में भी है और वेस्ट बंगाल में भी है. तो कैसे, किस proportionate में we have to distribute this credit of 20 lakhs? Then the sections 20 subclause 4 says that अगर लास्ट प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंस जुलाई 2017 में यहाँ पे क्रेडिट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है, तो अगर लास्ट प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर में अपने तीनों यूनिट ऑपरेशनल है, देन द टर्नओवर ऑफ दैट लास्ट प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल बीइंग ऑपरेशनल, आई एम यूजिंग द वर्ड बीइंग ऑपरेशनल, उसके प्रोपोर्शनेट में वी हैव टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट द इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट. In our example, say for example, Gujarat 20 lakhs का अपना इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट है. ओके, 20 lakhs का इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट है और 400 का टर्नओवर है गुजरात का, और टोटल टर्नओवर कितना होगा? 400 प्लस 300 प्लस 500, दैट कम्स टू 1200. 400 डिवाइडेड बाय 1200 into 20 lakhs comes to 8.89. ऐसे ही
नहीं ऐसा,
सॉरी आई एम
मेरे को सबसे बड़ा फायदा क्या हुआ मालूम है?
यहाँ पे दे हैव स्पेसिफिकली रिटन दैट यहाँ पे झारखंड इज सब्स्टिट्यूटेड बाय गुजरात हैज ऑब्टेन्ड द सर्विस फॉर इट्स गुजरात एंड वेस्ट बंगाल ओनली. सो ओनली 2 यूनिट्स हैज टू बी कंसीडर्ड, गुजरात एंड वेस्ट बंगाल. महाराष्ट्र हैज टू बी एक्सक्लूडेड in counting the turnover because they, what I have said, they have only received the attribution of services. So here we will take only 400 plus 500 and thereby comes to 8.89 lakhs. And the West Bengal का turnover कितना है उसके proportion में, और महाराष्ट्र में nil. Okay, got my point? Another, let us read section 20 subclause 4. See, the credit of tax paid on input service attributed to more than one recipient. यहाँ पे अपने गुजरात और वेस्ट बंगाल दो थे. Shall be distributed among such recipients to whom the input service is attributable, and such distribution shall be on a pro rata basis on the turnover. Turnover कौन सा? The preceding financial year का turnover. That is the turnover in a state or a turnover in union territory of such recipient. यानी recipient यहाँ पे कौन सा है? गुजरात and West Bengal during the relevant period to the aggregate turnover of all such recipient. जिसको सर्विस रिसीव्ड हुआ है उसका पूरा एग्रीगेट करके उसके प्रोपोर्शनल में अपने को क्रेडिट डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन करना है. Here I have written it is operational. The word has been used operational. What has been used? Operational. जो ऑपरेशन में नहीं है उसका टर्नओवर वी हैव टू एक्सक्लूड, और उसका टर्नओवर हो भी नहीं सकता है. ओके, अगर ऑपरेशनल है तो ही प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर में ही अपने को जाना है. अगर प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर में कोई भी एक यूनिट ऑपरेशन में नहीं है तो उसके लिए वी हैव टू डील अकॉर्डिंग टू द सेक्शन 20 सबक्लोज 5. इन अवर एग्जांपल, all the 3 units, that is Gujarat, Maharashtra and West Bengal, are having an operational unit. वहां पे कुछ ना कुछ वर्क हुआ है. Thereby we will consider the preceding financial year. Okay, now moving forward to the another slide. another example related to when the it is not operational, one of the unit is not operational, then how we will calculate the relevant period. Let us read the example. XYZ Limited has its corporate office in Mumbai, 3 manufacturing facilities Gujarat, Maharashtra and West Bengal. Its its corporate office is registered as an input service distributor. Turnover of all the 3 units are of the last financial year, and the current financial year of Q1 and 2 are being as follows. See, here in Maharashtra, the turnover is nil, that is not operational. Okay, in that case, preceding financial year ka turnover will not be considered as a base, will not be taken as a base. Okay, in that case, what we will do? In that case, what we will do? we will be taking. Wait a minute. Battery is running low, so I will call someone. One second, I have to call someone. Yeah, sorry. Now, 1 minute. Battery running low. Yeah. So now let us understand this example again. XYZ Limited has its corporate office in Mumbai. Okay, and there are 3 units: 1 Gujarat, Maharashtra and West Bengal. So corporate office has been registered as an input service distributor. So whatever been service received by this corporate office has to be distributed all the input service of credit to the Gujarat, Maharashtra and West Bengal in all the 3 units. How in what proportion this credit will be distributed, we are learning this. Okay, we are learning how the proportion of the credit will be done. So in that we have talked that operational, if in preceding financial year all the 3 units are in operation, then it is to be distributed in as per the preceding financial year, turnover of the preceding financial year. If any of the unit is not in operation, then we won't be able to distribute input tax credit according to the preceding financial year. But in the quarter, in the month in which we have to distribute the excess ISD input service to the recipient of service, उसके पिछले क्वार्टर का जो भी टर्नओवर हो रहा है वो कंसिडर्ड होगा. ओके, इन अवर एग्जांपल जुलाई 2017 में वी हैव टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट दिस क्रेडिट. सो उसके पिछले क्वार्टर, इमीडिएट प्रीसीडिंग क्वार्टर में जो भी टर्नओवर हुआ है, that in that proportion we will be distributing the input service to the recipient of this service. Got my point? Please understand this. If any of the unit is not in operation in the preceding financial year, then we won't be able to distribute the input service in that proportionate. Okay, it is a specific condition that all the units should be in operation, then and then only we will be able to distribute this input tax credit. Okay, एक condition ये है कि all the units should be in operation. प्रीसीडिंग का टर्नओवर तभी कंसीडर होगा अगर ऑपरेशन में है. अब जिस मंथ में वी हैव टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट इनपुट सर्विस बाय द आईएसडी टू द रिसिपिएंट ऑफ सर्विस, जैसे कि मान ले के मार्च 2018 में अपने को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है इनपुट सर्विस का एक्सेस क्रेडिट टू द रिसिपिएंट ऑफ सर्विस, अपने जो दूसरे यूनिट है मार्च 2008, तो प्रीसीडिंग क्वार्टर, उसके पहले वाला जो क्वार्टर है ना, उसका जो टर्नओवर है पूरे तीनों यूनिट का, दैट टर्नओवर इन दैट प्रोपोर्शन वी हैव टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट. दैट इज अक्टूबर टू दिसंबर का जितना भी पूरा टर्नओवर है 2017 का, उसके प्रोपोर्शन में अपने जो एक्सेस इनपुट सर्विस क्रेडिट है वो डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे। सो इन आवर एग्जांपल तीनों यूनिट को यहाँ पे क्रेडिट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने का था। सो प्रीसीडिंग जुलाई 2017 का था, सो अप्रैल टू जून का अपना टर्नओवर वी विल कंसीडर। सो अप्रैल टू जून का टर्नओवर है 60 + 50 + 75 मींस 60 + 50 110, 110 + 75 comes to 185। सो गुजरात का कितना है 60 है, 60 डिवाइडेड बाय 185 और कितना एक्सेस क्रेडिट अपने पास पड़ा है 40 लाख का, तो 40 × 60 डिवाइडेड बाय 185 comes to 12.97 लाख। गुजरात को अपने को वी हैव टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूट 12.97 lakhs। अकॉर्डिंगली वेस्ट बंगाल को 10.81 lakhs एंड महाराष्ट्र को 16.22 lakhs। गॉट माय पॉइंट? So friends, let us read again section 20 subclause 4 and section 20 subclause 5. Section 20 subclause 4 speaks about के जब all the unit are in operation, then how the input tax credit of input service should be distributed by IST. Or section 20 subclause 5 speaks about when one of the unit is not in operational, then how ISD inputs should distribute excess input service, input tax credit of input service. So let us read again. The credit of tax paid on input service attributed to more than one recipient of credit shall be distributed amongst such recipients to whom the input service is attributable, and such distribution shall be on a pro rata basis of the turnover in a state or a turnover in unit territory of such recipient। यानी जिसके बिहाफ पे अपने ने वो सर्विस लिया है। इन अवर एग्जांपल स्टॉक ऑडिट, गुजरात के यूनिट के लिए स्टॉक ऑडिट किया था, तो महाराष्ट्र को गुजरात को ही पे करने का है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने का है, सॉरी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने का है, दूसरे यूनिट को नहीं करने का है। अगर बोथ न्यू दिल्ली और गुजरात दोनों ने दोनों प्लेस पे स्टॉक ऑडिट करवाया है महाराष्ट्र ने, तो इन दैट केस दोनों यूनिट ऑपरेशनल में थे, तो प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर का टर्नओवर जितना भी है उसके प्रोपोर्शन में क्रेडिट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होगा। When one of the unit is not in operational, then read here, from read here, on pro rata basis of the turnover in state or turnover in union territory of such recipient during the relevant period to the aggregate turnover of all the recipient in which are the operational in the current year during the said relevant period। यानी प्रीसीडिंग पीरियड जो उसके करंट पीरियड में जो ऑपरेशनल है उसका बेस लेके हमको करना पड़ेगा डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन। ओके, मीनिंग ऑफ रिलेवेंट पीरियड, if the recipient of the credit have turnover in the state or union territory in the financial year preceding the year during which credit is to be distributed, the said financial year, यानी प्रीवियस अगर पूरे प्रीसीडिंग फाइनेंशियल ईयर में है ऑपरेशनल तो वो तीनों का वो जो टोटल होता है वो, and if some or all the recipients of the credit do not have any turnover in their state or union territory in which financial year preceding the year during which the credit is to be distributed, read here specifically, mark this word, the last quarter or which details of such turnover of all the recipients, यानी तीनों का होना जरूरी है, are available previous to the month during which credit is to be distributed। ओके, अंडरस्टूड। यहाँ पे गुजरात, महाराष्ट्र और वेस्ट बंगाल है, वहां पे गुजरात एंड वेस्ट बंगाल ने रिसीव किया तो वो दोनों को ही एक्सेस क्रेडिट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट होगा, महाराष्ट्र को नहीं होगा। ओके, क्योंकि सर्विस एक्सक्लूसिवली फॉर गुजरात एंड वेस्ट बंगाल था इन एग्जांपल नंबर 1, एंड इन एग्जांपल नंबर 2 one of the unit was not operational, so we have considered to distribute quarter 1 as a baseline to distribute the input service credit. Okay, understood? Now मान लीजिए कि what happens कि we have made a calculation error. We have made a calculation error while distributing the credit. महाराष्ट्र यूनिट जो रजिस्टर्ड ऑफिस है उसने कैलकुलेशन एरर कर दिया, गलती से 20,000 रुपीज गुजरात को ज्यादा मिल गया और न्यू दिल्ली को कम. इन दैट केस गुजरात has taken the excess credit. Gujarat has taken the excess credit and New Delhi has taken the lower credit. न्यू दिल्ली को तो कोई प्रॉब्लम आएगा नहीं, but as Gujarat unit has taken the excess credit, all the sections will apply of GST Act mutatis mutandis. All the section will apply. और जितने भी पेनल्टी प्रोविजन है, इंटरेस्ट के प्रोविजन है, टैक्स रिवर्सल ऑफ टैक्स क्रेडिट के प्रोविजन है, वो गुजरात यूनिट को अप्लाई होंगे. नहीं के प्रॉब्लम भले महाराष्ट्र यूनिट ने किया है और उसने ज्यादा क्रेडिट दे दिया, they have given the excess credit to Gujarat, but as Gujarat unit has taken the excess credit, so penalty provision will apply, interest provision will apply to the Gujarat unit only. ओके और उसको टैक्स रिवर्सल करना पड़ेगा, आईटीसी रिवर्सल करना पड़ेगा. ओके नाउ I am giving one more example. We have read that, we have understood that in previous our session कि we have to take only eligible credit and block credit है उसको रिवर्स कर देना है. ओके अगर मान लीजिए महाराष्ट्र यूनिट ने 1 लाख रुपीस का इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट दिया है गुजरात को. ओके महाराष्ट्र ने इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट दिया है गुजरात को, उसमें से गुजरात एग्जांपल है कि गुजरात का जो उसको 1 लाख क्रेडिट रिसीव हो गया, बट गुजरात के लिए, बट फॉर गुजरात 20,000 rupees in ineligible credit because he is also having a turnover of exempt supply, being he is also into the exempt supply. Okay, so we have understood that 1 lakh rupees has been received. Okay, 1 lakh rupees Gujarat unit को मिल गया है. Now total turnover of Gujarat is 400 lakhs, उसमें से 28 lakhs rupees ऐसा है कि exempt supply का है, तो 1 लाख का प्रो रेटा बेस पे वो भी इनएलिजिबल करना पड़ेगा, रिवर्स करना पड़ेगा 1 लाख में से. टोटल क्रेडिट ऑफ 1 लाख, रिवर्स डेट क्रेडिट ऑफ ऑन प्रो रेटा बेसिस ऑफ हिज एक्सक्लूसिव टर्नओवर ऑफ गुजरात ऑफ एग्जाम सप्लाई, उसके भी अपने को रिवर्स करना पड़ेगा. वी विल हैव दैट एग्जांपल आल्सो इन द लेटर पार्ट. गॉट माय पॉइंट? Now I am giving one more slide जो I have talked about. Here I have drafted one specific example for you, for this my viewers. This example is being drafted in such a way that it gives nutshell of each and every section, section 16, section 17, section 18, every. Or many of the chartered accountants, tax consultants do not reverse the input tax credit. GSTR 2A में आ गया है पूरा का पूरा credit. We have received all credit of 1 lakh rupees. भले ना अपने एग्जाम सर्विस बेचते हो, सिक्योरिटी में डीलिंग करते हो, म्यूचुअल फंड में डीलिंग कर रहे हो, शेयर्स एंड सिक्योरिटीज में डील कर रहे हो, वी हैव रिसीव्ड इंटरेस्ट इनकम एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. then also certain, as per the provision of GST Act, we have to reverse the input tax credit. okay, of the exempt service we are receiving. Got my point? Here in our example, sale of goods and service 100 CR का है, sale of mutual fund 100 CR का है, sale of land and building 14 CR का है, sponsorship income recipient has to pay the GST under reverse charge 5 CR का है, sale in a bonded warehouse as per schedule 3 5 CR, third country export 5 CR, IC sales 5 CR, ITC available 10 CR. Then we have to calculate what is the eligible ITC that we can take. What is the eligible ITC that we can take being the registered dealer? And what is the ITC that has to be reversed? Got it? कितनी ITC हमको मिलेगी और कितनी ITC we have to reverse it. So we are reading again this example. Sale of goods and service 100 CR का, sale of mutual fund 100 CR का, sale of land and building stamp duty value 14 CR, sponsorship income 5 CR, sale in a bonded warehouse 5 CR, third country export 5 CR, IC value 5 CR. Okay. अभी एक प्रोविजन मैं बता देता हूं. I will say one provision. Sale of a mutual fund. What has spoke GST Act that when we are selling our shares and securities or any units of a mutual fund, then only 1% of the value of mutual fund or shares and securities that value has to be reversed. That credit has to be reversed. अपना total credit कितना था 10 CR का. Okay. Total credit of 10 CR. Okay. Plus 1% of 100 CR, that is 1 और 14 CR. बराबर कितना इनएलिजिबल हो रहा है अपना, बाकी सब ये स्पॉन्सरशिप इनकम एलिजिबल, बॉन्डेड वेयरहाउस एलिजिबल क्रेडिट है पूरा वो सेल जो हुआ है, थर्ड कंट्री एक्सपोर्ट है डेट आल्सो भी एलिजिबल, आईसी सेल्स भी वो भी अपने रूटीन बिजनेस है. जो रूटीन बिजनेस में नहीं है तो वो कितना है, सेल ऑफ म्यूचुअल फंड एंड सेल ऑफ लैंड एंड बिल्डिंग, तो उसके ऊपर का क्रेडिट अपने को रिवर्स करना पड़ेगा. कितना, तो 1% ऑफ 100 CR कितना है 1 CR और 14 CR, टोटल इनएलिजिबल सेल कितना होगा 15. वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई कितना होगा इन केस ऑफ म्यूचुअल फंड 100 CR का 1%, 1 CR अपना वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई हुआ, बराबर है. एंड सेल ऑफ लैंड बिल्डिंग में जो स्टैम्प ड्यूटी वैल्यू होता है वो अपना वैल्यू ऑफ सप्लाई हुआ, तो 15 CR हुआ. 1% ऑफ 100 CR दैट इज 1 CR प्लस 14 15 CR. ओके, 15 डिवाइडेड बाय अपना टोटल टर्नओवर कितना था 100 CR का, बिजनेस का टर्नओवर कितना था 100 CR का, इनटू 10, तो इनएलिजिबल कितना हो गया 2.5. देन आवर एलिजिबल क्रेडिट इज 7.5 and we have to reverse 2.5 CR. Got my point? Okay. So friends, yeah. So here I have completed this another section 21, including some illustrations and examples. Here whole session is run that it is only my view of only to share your the knowledge and increase the knowledge of my viewers. There might be any error, or then the viewers can read the sections, rules, etc. So here I have written disclaimer. Okay, if you have any queries, then you may reach to my WhatsApp number is so and so, or Nitin Pathak sir here, or my email ID sasanket123@gmail.com. Thank you very much. So friends, if you have any queries, any doubt, then you may reach to me. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I'm ending this session.